From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, July the 13th, 2022. U.S. President Joe Biden arrived in Israel today, beginning his four-day visit to the Middle East, his first to the area as president. Air Force One landed at Ben Gurion International this afternoon, where Biden was greeted by Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid, along with Israel's President Isaac Herzog, alternate Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, and other senior officials. Biden was joined by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, all welcomed in a special ceremony with an honor guard and the IDF band, who played the U.S. national anthem, followed by Israel's national anthem, Hatikva. Herzog, whose office said Biden told him when he landed, "I am home," was the first to speak and called Biden our brother Joseph.
The people of Israel welcome you to the Holy Land with open arms and joyous hearts, as Joseph, son of Jacob, who sought out his brothers. Here, Mr. President, you are truly amongst family. Like the biblical Joseph, you are both a visionary and a leader, committed to advancing the United States of America, the Middle East, the world at large, and the State of Israel. This historic visit reflects the deep partnership our nations share, a partnership rooted in our shared commitment to democracy, justice and freedom, tolerance, security, and peace.
Lapid then spoke of what this visit to Israel, Biden's 10th, means.
Mr. President, this is both a historic visit and a deeply personal one. It is historic because it expresses the unbreakable bond between our countries, our commitment to shared values, democracy, freedom, and the right of the Jewish people to a state of their own. And it is a very personal visit because your relationship with Israel has always been very personal. You once defined yourself as a Zionist. You said that you don't have to be a Jew in order to be a Zionist. And you were right. And in your case, a great Zionist and one of the best friends Israel has ever known.
President Biden then recalled the first visit he ever made to Israel and the strong bond that the U.S. and Israel share.
My first visit was, as you mentioned, as a young United States Senator from Delaware in 1973, just a few weeks before the Yom Kippur War. I had the privilege of spending time with Prime Minister Golda Meir. I'll never forget, I was sitting next to a gentleman on my right when there were aides. His name was Rabin. I look back on it all now, and I realized that I had the great honor of living part of the great history of this great, and I did say, and I say again, you need not be a Jew to be a Zionist. The connection between the Israeli people and the American people is bone deep. It's bone deep.
The president also spoke of the U.S. commitment to Israel's security and to the Iron Dome. And from the tarmac, the president toured Israel's Ministry of Defense's complex at Ben Gurion, where Defense Minister Benny Gantz gave Biden a classified security briefing and presented a video to the president about the critical defense systems like Iron Dome and others, and thanked President Biden for the additional Iron Dome funding from the U.S. The president then headed to Jerusalem directly to Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center, where he took part in a memorial ceremony during which he rekindled the eternal flame and laid a wreath on a slab under which ashes of Holocaust victims from the extermination camps are buried. Biden met 2 Holocaust survivors at Yad Vashem, Rena Quint and Giselle Gita Sikowicz, and signed the Yad Vashem guest book, where he wrote of the importance of Holocaust remembrance. Biden wrote, "It can happen again unless we remember. That is what I teach my children and grandchildren. Never forget." Later this evening, Lapid met with Blinken. The prime minister will meet with Biden tomorrow. And Biden gave an interview to Israel's Channel 12 News, which aired tonight in Israel. The Times of Israel citing Biden when asked about Iran in the interview and if the U.S. would use force to stop Iran's nuclear program. Biden answered, as a last resort, yes. Earlier today, Israel and the U.S. announced the beginning of a strategic partnership in the field of advanced technology. Specific areas to be included in this partnership are artificial intelligence, climate change, and improving pandemic preparedness. Changing gears now and looking at some sports news, the JTA reports that 2 Jewish players made the Major League Baseball All-Star Game rosters this week. Pitcher Max Fried of the Atlanta Braves and outfielder Jock Peterson of the San Francisco Giants. In entertainment news, the nominations for the Emmy Awards were announced last night. Among the Jewish nominees for outstanding performances on television, Julia Garner for Inventing Anna, Andrew Garfield for Under the Banner of Heaven, Alex Borstein for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, Henry Winkler for Barry, Seth Rogen for Pam and Tommy, and Adrian Brody for Succession. The Emmys will air September the 12th. And from the small screen to the stage, Broadway's revival of Funny Girl announced a replacement for Jewish actress Beanie Feldstein, who plays Fanny Bryce, when she leaves the show at the end of the month. That is Leah Michele, who will take on the lead role in September. And playing her mother, Mrs. Bryce, veteran Jewish actress Tova Feldshuh. Michele, whose father is Jewish and was raised Catholic, wrote on Instagram Monday of the news, "A dream come true is an understatement." Feldshuh wrote, "To put it mildly, I'm thrilled, and I'm going back to Broadway." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, July the 13th at 7 o'clock. Shahar Azani, on location in Israel, sat down with Dr. Mordechai Kedar just ahead of Biden's visit, with Kedar sharing his insights about the visit to the Middle East and Israel's upcoming elections. At 7:30, Alan Dershowitz talks about the Supreme Court in regards to the role of organized religion in the U.S. Constitution. At 8, a panel from the ADL looks at social media regulation and dealing with online hate. At 9, a discussion on free speech, hate speech, and cancel culture. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, July the 13th, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.